A pilot is landing a helicopter in Narsarsuaq, Greenland. Routine approach, he's done this 100 times. And then he sees it. A large, luminous, oval-shaped object hovering near the edge of a cloud. Before he can process what he's looking at, it vanishes. He reported it, and what he said next is what got researchers' attention. He told them it wasn't a one-time thing. He said these objects are seen daily by residents, air traffic controllers, by flight mechanics, daily over Greenland, and nobody is officially investigating. Now, you could dismiss this as one pilot's story, except Greenland has a history of secrets so layered, so deliberate, that for 40 years the United States government hid an entire city under that ice. And we only found out about that because a NASA plane accidentally flew over it last year. In 1959, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers begins construction on what they publicly call a research station in northwestern Greenland. They name it Camp Century. It gets a full write-up in Popular Science magazine, Walter Cronkite tours it for CBS, National Geographic visits. It looks completely above board. What the public saw? A scientific outpost studying Arctic construction. What they didn't see was a nuclear-powered underground city carved into the ice sheet with sleeping quarters, a barbershop, a library, laboratories, and a classified second purpose that would stay buried for decades. You see, Camp Century was the cover story. The real project was called Project Iceworm. Its goal was to build a network of tunnels 4,000 kilometers long hidden beneath the Greenland ice sheet, to deploy up to 600 nuclear missiles capable of hitting the Soviet Union. 600 missiles, mobile, rotating positions, invisible from the surface. Because of Greenland's position near the North Pole, those missiles could reach roughly 80% of Soviet targets. There was one problem, though. The ice moved. It slowly crushed the tunnels, it buckled the rails, made the whole concept unworkable. The nuclear reactor was removed, and by 1967, Camp Century was abandoned. The US assumed the ice would swallow it forever, that the secret would stay buried. And they were right, for a little while. Before that abandonment, though, in 1968, a US Air Force B-52 carrying 4 nuclear bombs crashed near Thule Air Base in northern Greenland. 3 bombs were accounted for in the cleanup. The 4th, or at least part of it, was never definitively recovered from the seafloor. That case is still officially unresolved. So that's the baseline. The US built a secret nuclear city under Greenland, lied about it for 40 years, and left things behind that are still unaccounted for. That's not speculation, that's declassified record. Now here's where it starts to get strange. In April of 2024, a NASA science team is flying a Gulfstream 3 over the Greenland ice sheet. Their mission is routine, testing a new radar instrument designed to map the layers of ice below the surface. And then something appears on the radar that shouldn't be there. NASA scientist Chad Green later described the moment like this: "We were looking for the bed of the ice, and out pops Camp Century." They didn't know what they'd found, they had to figure it out after the fact. Buried under approximately 100 feet of accumulated snow and ice, the radar had mapped individual structures of the abandoned secret city in more detail than any previous scan had ever achieved. An entire city hidden under the ice, accidentally rediscovered by scientists who weren't even looking for it. And here's the question that nobody in the official reporting asked. If 60 years of snow and ice can hide an entire Cold War nuclear installation from the surface, what else is the ice hiding? I want to introduce a concept I'm calling the ice vault. Greenland isn't just a location, it has functioned for decades as a place where things get buried. Nuclear programs, nuclear material, classified operations, layers of ice over layers of secrets. And in the last few years, researchers have started asking whether the ice vault contains something that predates all of it. It starts, as many modern UFO stories do, on Reddit. A post appears claiming that there's a craft beneath the Greenland ice, describes it as so large it could not be moved, and that a facility had been constructed around it. The post included specific coordinates. Then the post was deleted, and the account vanished. Researchers who checked the coordinates found nothing but white on Google Earth. What made investigators pay attention wasn't the post itself, it was that those same coordinates had appeared years earlier in a separate thread. Also ignored, also deleted. Now, a deleted Reddit post is not evidence of anything, and I want to be transparent about that. but it's a data point. And it became more interesting when people started connecting it to something already on the ground. Martin Kleist is a Danish Greenlandic researcher and lawyer. He's been investigating UAP sightings in southern Greenland for several years. In June of 2025, he sat down with investigative journalist Ross Coulthart to share the footage. Coulthart, who has broken some of the most significant UAP stories of the last decade, described it as, quote, "the best UFO video I've seen in a while." What Kleist captured on infrared camera is a glowing light, rising from behind a mountain near Narsarsuaq in southern Greenland that moves and then abruptly vanishes. The mountain it emerges from backs up to nothing but 100 kilometers of open ice cap. Kleist described some of the objects as cone-shaped and multicolored when viewed through binoculars. He documented that witnesses include not just local residents, but pilots, air traffic controllers, and flight mechanics, people trained to identify aircraft, people who file reports for a living. Here's what Kleist noted that I think matters most. These sightings cluster near a known rare earth mineral deposit in southern Greenland. He's identified the same pattern in Zimbabwe, in Norway, and other locations globally where UAPs appear repeatedly, near sensitive mining zones. That's either a coincidence or it's a data point. What makes this thread more layered is that the Inuit, the indigenous people of Greenland, have described this phenomenon for generations, long before any military presence, long before any Cold War operations. They call them spirit lights, flying kayaks, luminous objects that moved through the sky and then vanished. In the Greenlandic worldview, these weren't supernatural, they were simply part of the natural landscape. They were acknowledged, observed, and accepted. Interviewed during Kleist's investigation, described the lights as familiar, not alarming, just present. People have been watching something move over that ice for a very long time. So here's where I want to lay out what we actually know, because I think when you line it up, the picture is hard to ignore. The United States has been running secret operations in Greenland since the 1950s. They built a hidden nuclear city. They lied about it for 4 decades. They only got caught because Denmark forced the documents out. In 2024, NASA accidentally rediscovered that city from the air while doing something completely unrelated. Right now, in 2026, President Trump is publicly pushing to acquire Greenland. His stated reasons are strategic location, rare earth minerals, and national security. Those same rare earth deposits sit in the same region of southern Greenland where UAP sightings have been documented repeatedly by credentialed witnesses and where Danish authorities have shown no interest in investigating. In February of this year, Trump directed the Pentagon to begin releasing government files on UAPs and extraterrestrial life. The White House then registered alien.gov and aliens.gov as official government domains. As of the time I'm making this video, neither of those sites have gone live yet. But depending on when you're watching this, check the comments section below and I'll put an update when it does. Ross Coulthart, one of the journalists closest to the UAP disclosure story, has mentioned on record that there are craft too large to move housed in facilities with national security significance to multiple allied nations. He has specifically said the objects are not in the United States. I'm not telling you there's a UFO under the Greenland ice. I'm telling you that the United States has a documented history of using Greenland to hide things, and that the areas where those things were hidden overlap with precision with the areas where something unexplained is being seen in the sky. That might be coincidence, it might be classified military technology, it might be something else entirely. So let me be clear about what's documented and what isn't. What is documented? Camp Century was real, Project Iceworm was real. The Danish government confirmed it in 1997 from declassified files. The B-52 crash did happen. The missing bomb component is officially unresolved. NASA rediscovered the buried base in April 2024. Martin Kleist's witnesses and footage are real and on record. Trump's acquisition push and the UFO disclosure directive are both current confirmed news. What is not confirmed? Any connection between the UAP sightings and what may or may not be under that ice. The Reddit post has no verification. Coulthart has not named a specific location and no government has acknowledged a craft in Greenland. What remains open is one nuclear weapon component unaccounted for on a Greenland seafloor. Repeated UAP sightings in a region with no official investigation, a country that once hid 600 missiles under that same ice, and a disclosure process that, as of right now, has not shown us everything. The Inuit have been watching the lights over that ice for generations, long before we built anything underneath it. Maybe that's the most honest data point of all. I'll put a link to that footage below if you want to go ahead and look at that Coulthart interview. I'm Heather, this is Seriously Spooked, and come back for our next video. It's a little bit of a sensitive one. I've had to do some extra editing, and let's just say it's about a bunch of scientists who have gone missing recently. So, this is Heather from Seriously Spooked, and we'll see you in the next one.